Good day, suit lovers. You're welcome to this channel. In this video, I will show you how to cut a basic bodice block for your top or for your blouse. The measurement will be displaying on the screen at the moment, and that's the measurement I will use for this project. Every parameters will be divided by 4 except the back measurement. Okay, so I'm going ahead now to measure my full length for this top or blouse. So this is what I'm doing. I'm sorry, I didn't know that my camera did not capture that point. So what I'm just doing is just to measure my full length, and then I'm connecting the points together to get the full length of this bodice, which is what I'm doing at the moment. Then from there, I'll go ahead and measure the points of the waist or the half length, either the half length or the waistline, which is 15.5 inches, which is what I'm doing as displayed on the screen. I'm just marking out my points and then connecting the point together to get the waistline for this project. Then I'll go ahead and measure my shoulder length, which is 15 inches. I divided that by 2 to get 7.5 inches. And then on that same line, I'll measure the round neck measurement. The standard is 3 inches. 3 inches, I'll measure that. Then from the shoulder line, I'll come down by 1.5 inches. This is okay for your front, but it's 1.5 inches because your arm side at your front bodice is a bit hollow, so I prefer to come down by 1.5. Then from that point, I will join that to the neck measurement I measured. Then from that 1.5 inches, I will measure the armhole measurements. I usually like to use my shoulder length divided by 2. My shoulder length for this measurement, for this tutorial, is 15 inches. If I divide that by 2, that will give me 7.5. So that means I will measure 7.5 inches to get my arm side or my armhole measurement. But most of the time, I prefer to reduce that measurement by 1/2 inch. So instead of measuring 7.5, I will use 7 inches. But if I'm making a sleeveless top, or I want my armhole to be very loose, do you understand, I will use that 7.5. But if I'm just making a dress that I will attach a sleeve, or if I want my armhole to be a bit tight, I will rather use 7 inches. That is, I will reduce the half measurement of my shoulder line by 1/2 inch. Do you understand what I just said? All right, so I'll connect that point horizontally so that I can get my bust line. Then on that horizontal line, I will transfer the shoulder length, the 7.5 shoulder length on that line, so that I can get the point where I will connect the armhole. So that is what I'm doing. So I'll connect that point so as to get the straight line for the armhole. So on that on the armhole, I will get the midpoint of the armhole, which will be 7.5 or thereabouts. So while on that point, I will come in by 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch. But for someone who is busty, if you have a busty client, please use 0.5. But for someone who has an average bust or a slim person, just use 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch. Then on that bust line, I will measure my bust, take my bust measurements. I will divide that by 4, and then I will now connect the line together. I usually like to use my hand to connect this together, my free hand to sketch this. But if you have a rule like I have, you can just do that. But most of the time, I use my hand to just sketch it so that it won't be too curvy. Make sure that once you're connecting your points to get your armhole, don't make it too curvy. It will affect your armhole at the end of the day. That is why, if by the time you are very good, just start using your hand to sketch it out. It will give you a perfect armhole shape. Then on the waistline, I will measure my waist measurement. I divided that by 4, and that is the point I've marked. And then I'll add 1 inch extra for the darts. Then on the hip, I'll also measure the hip measurement. I'll place the hip measurement. I divided that also by 4, just like I did for the waist and the bust, and then I'll place the point on there. Then our front measurement is ready, so I'll just go ahead and connect the points together and then cut this out. So I just want to say that sewing is very easy if you put your heart to it. It might be difficult at first, but with a lot of practice and diligence, you will get better as time goes on. And I want to implore you, just to encourage you, if you're watching this tutorial video, please leave a comment in the comment section, like, subscribe to this channel so that I'll bring more valuable content for you. And if you have any suggestion, anything you would like to say, please let me know in the comment section. So I've cut out the front bodice. I'll go ahead and use this to cut my back bodice. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to use the front bodice to cut my back bodice. Don't mind me, I didn't have enough papers at the time I did this video, so I'm just trying to manage my papers. So I'm using the front bodice just to get an enough paper for my back bodice. So that's what I'm doing, just trying to place it around to get the perfect volume for my back bodice. So that is what I'm doing at the moment. So I think I finally found a perfect volume for what I will need. So I'll just use the front bodice to just mark the starts to make a rule. You can actually use the front bodice to just cut out your back bodice like that, but because of this tutorial, I want to show you how to cut the back bodice, just in case you want to cut it out without using your front bodice. So I have a start mark now. Then I'll just go ahead and then take the shoulder measurements. The shoulder measurement is still the same, which is 7.5 inches. Remember, it was 15. We divided it by 2. Please make sure that whenever you are cutting yours, use your own parameters, okay? And then I'll also measure the neckline, which is 3 inches. Then from that point where I mark the shoulder length, I will come down by 1 inches. Remember, for the front I came down by 1.5 because I said the arm side for the front is all low, but for the back 1 inches is okay for every body type. 1 inches is okay for the back. Then I'll connect that to the neck measurements. Then from that point where I came down, which from the shoulder slope, I will come also measure the armhole measurement. Remember, it was 7 inches. I will mark that and then connect the line horizontally, okay, as shown on the screen. I'll also transfer the shoulder measurement on that line so that I can join that to the slope to get the armhole measurement, and then to also measure the bust measurement. So that is what I'm doing. So basically, I'm just repeating what I did for the front measurements onto the back measurements. Okay, so another difference from the front measurements is the armhole, the midpoint. Now I will get the midpoint now, just like I did for the front. After getting the midpoint, so that's what I'm trying to do. I'll get the midpoint. I will come in by 0.5. Now 0.5 inches is okay for everyone, both for someone with an average bust line or someone who is busty. 0.5 is okay. Then on the bust line, I'll measure the bust measurement. Take that, I divided that by 4, and then I've placed the points. Then I will connect the points together just to get the armhole line. Remember, I said I prefer using my hand to sketch this out because I'm able to control the curve so that it won't be too curvy. Once it's too curvy, your armhole will not sit well, okay? So I will also go ahead to just duplicate what I did for the front measurement onto the back. I'm measuring the half length and then the full length so I can place my waist measurement and hip measurement respectively. So that is what I'm trying to do here. So I'm just trying to connect the lines to have my horizontal lines. Then on the waistline, I will come in, I'll measure, I'll place my waist measurements. I'm just trying to, confirm what I measured earlier. So on the waistline, I will place my waist measurement. I also had 1 inch, just like I did for the front measurement. Then on the hip line, I'll also do the same thing I did for the front measurement. Okay, all your parameters, remember that all your parameters are divided by 4. Your waist, your hip, your bust measurements are all divided by 4 inches, except your shoulder line. And also remember, I said that I won't add any allowance to this. I'm not adding any allowance to this basic bodice block. That's because this is a basic bodice block. You don't need to add any allowance. This is because you will use this basic bodice block for other things. So once I want to transfer to my fabric, I will add my allowance. I usually use allowance ranging from 0.5 inches to 2 inches, depending on if I want to add an interfacing or a lining, or if the fabric is stretchy, or at times if I don't have enough fabric, or depending on my mood. So I've connected all the points, and then I'm trying to cut the back measurements. So this is what I'm doing, and voila, we have our back measurements and the front measurements ready. Okay, so that is it. The back bodice is ready. So from here, so what I want to do is to shape the back. Now on the waistline, I will come in by 1/2 inch. Then from that point, I will join into the hip and to the top measurement. So what I'm doing is that I want to connect it to the point where I took half, where I made a point for half of the armhole. You can see half of the armhole. That's the point where you will join the line. Okay, so that the essence of this is to reduce that bulge at the back of your back bodies. You know, when at times you see some dresses and then at the zip line it just bulges out. It won't give you that nice shape. So this is the reason. This is the only way you can avoid that. Just come in by 1/2 inch on the waist measurement, connect it to the hip line, and then to the shoulder line, connect it at that point where you came in by 1/2 on your armhole. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. I'm just trying to cut out the excess. I remember I didn't have a zip allowance to this block. When you want to cut on your fabric, if there's a need for you to add a zip allowance, just go ahead and add your zip allowance. Okay, I'm not adding any allowance to this bodies I have cut in this video. And that is it. We have both the front and back bodies. Okay, for this tutorial. I hope this was very helpful. Please remember to subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, press the notification bell, and share and like for this community to grow and for other people to also see this video. So the last thing I will do now is to measure the neck measurement. Okay, I'll measure the neck measurement. So for the front bodies, the basic round measurement from the shoulder is just 3 inches. That's the basic. You can use this for any body type. And then along the vertical line, I'll also measure 3. That is the standard, 3 inches by 3 inches for the front bodies. Then, but if you want your neck measurements wider and deeper, you can always alterate this to suit your taste. Okay, but for a basic neck measurement is 3 inches by 3 inches, and I've done that for the front bodies, and I'm cutting that out. While for the back bodies, I'll also do the same thing on the shoulder line. 3 inches on the shoulder line for the basic neck measurement, 3 inches, while on the vertical line I'll come down by 1 inch. Now this is just a basic round neck measurement for the back. Okay, basic neck. If you want it wider and deeper, because you are free to add your measurements depending on your preference, but this is just a basic neck measurement to take. Okay, for both the front and the back. And so I'm going ahead now to cut that out to have that for the back. And that is it for this tutorial. I hope this was helpful. I hope you were able to learn one or few things from this tutorial. So please just leave a comment in the comment section if there's any question you want me to answer, or if there's anything that you're not clear about, please let me know in the comment section, and I'll be very glad to answer and to give you my input. So we've come to the end of this tutorial video. I hope you like it. Please share, comment, and subscribe to this channel so that this community can grow and for me to bring better content to this to you and for your viewing. So don't forget to like and share this video. Thank you and bye.